Well, good afternoon and welcome back again to the Little French Homestead. My name is Sherry. If you are new, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be making some quiches. Now I'm going to be doing 4 quiches. 2 are for tonight's meal and 2 are for a freezer meal. Now I've done some bacon. I'm following a recipe from the Pioneer Woman, and I'm going to put it down below, the recipe and the link to go ahead and go on to it. This is the first time that I've made this particular quiche, but it's unbelievably delicious. My entire family fell in love with it, and I am so happy. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to caramelize your onions. That is the big takeaway right here. So on my stove, as I am taking out the bacon and taking out the grease, and I got it in a glass mason jar. I let it cool for a little bit before I put it in the mason jar. I didn't want to break the mason jar. And I'm going to stick that in the refrigerator. That is some ooey gooey deliciousness for another time that I'm going to be using. So while you are caramelizing your onions, because that can take a good while, anywhere between 15-20 minutes or more. The longer that you allow them to caramelize, the better and the savory of the flavor, and that's what I wanted to do. Then in a separate bowl, I have got 8 eggs. I got some heavy cream, some salt, some pepper, and you're going to add into the pan some butter, some onions, caramelize all that down. And when you're setting up the quiches, I did use here just store-bought quiches. These are perfectly fine. If you want to do homemade pie crust, go right ahead. I did not have the time or the energy at this time frame to go ahead and do that. I will make my own, and I will stick them in the freezer so I have them ready and already pre-done. I am just crimping the edges up here. I had a really good feeling, which I'm glad I did, is when I crimped these, I made sure that my edges came still all the way up. I didn't lay them flat, because then when I had poured the batter all into them, I did have almost a little bit of an overflow on one of them. So that is a great tip to when you're making your crust, pie crust, is to leave the edges all up on the side. Now, I do have a tendency to spill a little bit, so you see why I have an aluminum foil pan here. My oven is preset to 400 degrees. This is going to take anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour to go ahead and cook. Now, it did tell me to go ahead and put the aluminum foil loosely over the quiches, and I did not read that part very thoroughly when I put the quiches in. It was only when they were about halfway done when I read the directions on how much longer I needed to keep them in, that I needed to have foil on them. But when you see them coming out in a little bit, they were still perfectly golden brown. They did not get like really super brown along the edges or any burnt of any sort. So thankfully that happened. So I didn't need to do that. So it did go for about 45 minutes, but if you do put a foil on, go ahead then and take the foil off after about 15 minutes, about 45 minutes, and then cook it for another 15 in the oven for a total cook time of an hour. So I put the caramelized onions all on the bottom. It was about 8 slices of bacon. You just want to chop that up. You do want to cook that in advance. And then with the eggs, you're going to go ahead and put them in the bowl. In your quiches, and then you're just going to add cheese to them. I added a little bit of cheese on the bottom, a little bit more cheese on the top. Today I used, since I didn't have a full block of cheddar cheese, because if you noticed in another video, I had made some broccoli cheddar soup. So I used a good deal of my big block of white cheddar cheese for that. So I have some Monterey Jack, and this was just as good. You can really use any type of cheese that you have handy. You don't have to follow all the ingredients precise. Use what you have handy. Don't go out and go buy something just because you want to make it if you have it already. So like you said, you see I added just a few more handfuls of some more cheese. Now I've made 4, like I was saying, so 2 is right here. I'm going to make the 2 more in a few moments. And now I have quiches backed up in my refrigerator. In my freezer. So anytime we need a quick, easy meal, you can go ahead and throw that into the oven. You would want to cook it a little bit longer if you are going to cook it from frozen. Either that, or you go ahead and just take out the quiches the night before, thaw them in the refrigerator, and then you can plop them in the oven at normal time. So these were my dad's homemade green beans. So right now I am making green bean almondine. And what you're going to want to do is boil the green beans for a good 5 to 6 minutes. You still want them crisp. And then you want to go ahead and just drain them out. Then in a large skillet, which I still have, I did not use butter. Instead, I wanted to still add that bacon flavor to keep with the theme of the bacon and onion quiche. So you see me adding some of my caramelized onions into that. Then the bacon adds the fat, so you don't need then to add the butter. You're going to add almonds to that, and then you're going to let it toast for about 2 to 3 minutes. You want to get those almonds good and toasted before you go really any further. And then you're going to add the garlic and a little bit of olive oil if you would still like to do that. Some olive oils have a tendency to be a little bit potent, so you don't want to go ahead and add a very potent one. Then you're going to add a little bit of garlic salt. They said garlic salt, but I just added regular salt and some pepper because I added 4 or 5 cloves of garlic into that to get that nice garlic rich flavor that I wanted to. When you go ahead and on your way of getting done, you want to add some lemon zest, which I didn't have any lemon zest. I had some lemon juice, so I just added some lemon juice to that. I did have to thaw it out in the microwave for a few minutes. It was still very frozen. It wasn't enough for me to go ahead and pour in there, so that's why you saw me just pour it in from a bowl. You can go ahead and serve this over with some feta cheese, and that would be super delicious as well. You can see here that I'm getting ready to take the quiches out. Like I said, they were cooked perfectly. Look at that. Nice golden brown. And they were super delicious. Now you do want to allow them to sit on the stove for a few minutes before you cut in. And you want to make sure they're not still wiggly with the eggs. So I'm going to get ready to plate up here in a moment. I want to tell you that this was an absolutely divine meal. Everybody in my family loved it. This will be definitely on a make again list. So I really would like to say again, thank you so much for visiting my home. Thank you for allowing me to be in your home today. And if you do like these videos, please like, share, but really, most importantly, go ahead and subscribe. So then that way I still know that the content that I am providing for you is still very much relevant to what you guys would like to see. And as always, keep on cooking. Bye.